weekend all. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your weekend edition of your SPDR ETF wrap-up. And this is for Friday, and we're the 1st of October. Now remember, we're going to cover in this section just weekly charts, not going to the dailies. Well, the fiasco continues in Congress. There's no deals, be it the infrastructure or the reconstruction bill or the debt ceiling. I wish they would get to work on the debt ceiling. That's got me nervous. You don't want to play chicken with the good faith of the U.S. dollar or the government, and they're doing it. Now that Congress realizes they're far away of getting any deals done on infrastructure and or the reconstruction bill because of the infighting within the Democratic Party, and it's not a slam at them, it's what's going on. Time to move on. Wonder Woman, don't get mad when I call her Wonder Woman. You know, she's been around forever, Pelosi. I think she was born in Congress. And my guess is that what's really going on there is she was going to call a vote every day. She has nothing to lose by calling the vote. She made her reputation. She said she won't bring the bill to the floor unless she has the votes. She's Wonder Woman. She can call for a vote from now until, I guess, her next 20 terms. But until it gets there, nothing is passed. We saw that the progressives are losing out. President Biden walked out of a meeting when he went to Capitol Hill today to talk to everybody, and he walked out of there saying, well, whether it happens in 6 days, 6 weeks, maybe it'll be 6 years and you won't be around, Joe. I don't know. But it isn't happening now, that. And that $3.5 trillion package, that's out the window. The president's already talking, well, maybe it's got to be $2 trillion. How's Bernie Sanders and all the other progressives going to handle that? So what did the market do? The market likes that. We're not spending money. Maybe we don't need to spend that money is what some think. What else? Well, I guess that means for the moment at least, putting the tax rate up. What do you need all those tax dollars for if you can't get this done? Isn't that how you were going to fund it? That's where this all sits. Now, the other component of the rally today. What is today? Oh, first day of a new quarter, first day of a new month, and if you're a stock trader, when do monies get deployed? I didn't make this up. That's when they get deployed. How do I know? Own stock firms. I know how it works. Go out and try, for your example, you want to deploy out of your 401k money. Sometimes you have, if you're in a company, only certain packages you can choose from. You say, I want to buy that. You can tell them you want to buy it, but it's not done to the end of that day. It's not like you're a stock trader or a SPDR ETF trader. You go in and you can hit that price and you own it. Not how it works. It's generally at the end of the day. So I thought that was what was moving the market today. All right, enough of me. In XLK, the tech sector, still under pressure. You can see how it's rolled over. You have a pattern of a higher high and a lower low, but this is fairly important. You've broken the overall long-term pattern of higher lows, higher highs, and you've now entered a trading affair. Why? Well, you don't have the pattern that's bearish of lower highs, lower lows. You have a higher high and a lower low. That's not a trading pattern. Next, where's the market fighting a battle? Aha! The 18-week moving average of closes, which I call the line in the sand. Why? Moving average traders look for reference points. That's what a moving average is. It's a reference point. It is not forward. It is a backward tool. So if the market's falling, you're looking for where that point might be. It's not telling you it's going there. It's giving you a reference of where it might go to. That's where the market went, and that seems to be where it's hanging right now. When you look at Bollinger Bands, they're not in play. What does that mean? Well, they're on the chart, but the market's not knocking on the upper and lower ones at this point. They're not in play. What is in play is momentum. And on the momentum, this is how you were looking. This is September 17th. This is last week. You still have an embedded reading. As long as both numbers are staying over 80 for at least 3 sessions or more, which it's done, you're bullish. If you lose that reading, the target is going back to the 18-week moving average of closes, which is exactly what the market did. So now you've left a market that was bullish, and in momentum, it cannot get bullish again for quite a while. You'd have to re-embed next week, and I would rate on these type of readings, I've not seen it be able to do it. You'd have to be up dramatically in the market. Anything can happen. I'm smart enough to realize that, but the odds are solidly against it. So you're in drifting territory in these tech stocks. PAVE, well, you got set back there. Why it rallied today in front of all this was a little surprising to me, unless people thought, well, gee, the president's going to pull magic out. He's Joe Biden. He's been in the Senate his whole life. He knows how to do this. He doesn't know how to do diddly because he didn't get anything done. That's not an insult to our president. The simple fact is, isn't this the first time he went to a caucus since he became president? Do you think he went there to say, hi, guys? It's falling apart on him is what was happening. That's how I look at it. And by the way, people, I am not political. I don't want to be political. I was attacking Trump and praising Trump. I will attack and praise, be it Ms. Pelosi, Mr. Biden, President Biden. I don't care. Do the job, you've got me. That's what you're there to do. Don't do the job, I'm going to be all over you. Why shouldn't I? I have that right. So in looking at the market, higher highs, lower lows, but where are you going on this bill? Nowhere right now. So you must have a reason you'd want to own it that I don't understand. In the industrial sector, well, let's talk about this. All I've got are supply chain issues, high prices everywhere, and you're telling me industry is going to do fine. It isn't doing fine. If you looked at what you saw this week from be it Nike, if you looked at Bed Bath & Beyond, H&M, and you're studying what's going on, these supply issues are going to weigh on everybody's earnings. And that's the other thing we got to talk about. Earnings season is coming right down the road. And how are you going to do if you don't have products? And that's going to be the theme. You don't have to believe me. It's going to be the theme. And from automakers on, and automakers can talk to me all they want. They're going to ramp up production. I'm going to build 3 plants in Kentucky, and I want them to. Eventually, we'll get through the semiconductor problem, but it's not now. So you got to think ahead. But for all these retailers, you either have the product on your shelf, and if somebody orders it, they're not getting it right away. How many of you wait for durable goods? I got refrigerators I'm waiting on right now. Forget it. If it's not in stock, you're not getting it. I went to get a front door for my home. And I ended up, I've got another meeting coming up this week. The earliest, and this is October 1st, they can get the door to me, will be mid-January. We're talking a door. Okay. When we come to the energy sector, lower low, higher high, momentum up. You don't want to be short the market, but it hasn't thrown out a buy signal. Why don't you want to be short? Because you don't have the signal. You got a lower and low, higher high. But what about the buy signal? Well, you got a lower and low, higher high. I can argue that if it rallies, the resistance is the 200-day average, the upper Bollinger Band, and supports right here, that 18-week moving average of closes. In SPY, we fell back. We've lost the embedded reading. You lost your reading right here, and you'd already hit your target, the 18-week average, and you've just been hanging there, but you can't re-embed right away. And when you lose an embedded reading, like you had here, you go from bullish to overbought. That's the sequence. Overbought requires sideways typically to lower action. If the market just goes up, it has to re-embed. You can't do that on a weekly chart 3 weeks from now. Minimum amount of time, probably 5. In the emerging markets, okay, I've been telling you that my problem with the emerging markets is simple. How do they get through high energy prices, a strong U.S. dollar? What can they bring to the table to make them suddenly jump? I want them to go. I just don't see the story. In GLD, gold has stunk. Obviously, the gold person that likes the inflation play has moved on. He's a newer generation. They're trading the Bitcoin. Do I understand it? I'm the first to tell you I don't understand the relationship of inflation to Bitcoin, but I see it on the chart and I understand the chart. I don't understand the other part. As for what gold's done, it's just got nothing but problems. All right, it's got a higher high, lower low. It gets down to the Bollinger Band. That I get. That's a short covering area. Support, the 100-day and that number. And I realize so many people say, oh, the rule of thumb is you never come in on these charts and you don't buy that 100-week average again. Well, that's their rule. That's not mine. In the gold miners, you had a bearish crossover. You got real bad action right here. Here's what you looked like last week. You had the 18-week average, 33.90. Now it's 33.78, and you got under it. The magic, there is none. The support's down here. I expect that you're in the neighborhood that you're going to test it. Resistance back up here, and I think you'd have willing sellers, and you're embedded. There's nothing friendly on that chart. ARC, you hit a downside target today. Now, Kathy Woods will see major outflows of cash, billions of dollars out of some of her vehicles. And that's because they're not performing. But you don't need me to tell you that. I think she's bright as can be. So she's not on my enemy list by any stretch. But you peaked, you had bearish action, you sideways trade, you're testing the lower parameter. That's what you're doing. What's going to magically make her investments come alive in this environment? That's what I'm not saying. In this environment right now. Amazon, okay, bearish. We talked about that back here, unless there's something wrong that you weren't paying attention. Lower highs, lower lows, momentum down. I'm bearish. And the market did its job. It's going to fight now, I think, at that 18-week average. But do I really want to get too bearish this market in front of a Christmas season? Nope. Even though there's not going to be a lot of product, they're the go-to place. So, I don't know. And everybody says you got to buy early. I wonder what their sales are doing right now. That's another thing you look at. Apple. Okay, the product. I didn't like the product. Doesn't mean it had a fall like that, but apparently there's a host of people like me that didn't like the new iPhone 13. Why? You're either a camera buff or you need a bigger battery. That's it. Those are the two stories. Apparently there's not enough of those people. Now I know you're going to tell me they're more than a phone company, and they've got the subscription business, and they've got all this and that. I get it. Not arguing that. I'm just saying, excuse me, their newest product, in my opinion, a big miss. I haven't seen the watch yet. We'll see what that does. TLT, all we did is rally back to a resistance point, the 100-week average. If you don't buy, if the rule of so many of the analysts on TV, we're not going to buy the second test of the 100-week or 100-day average. Well, that means you wouldn't be selling, I guess, selling against this number, but I think you do. So I know what people say. I like their rules of thumb. I understand and I respect these people. At least they're saying something. They're not saying nothing, but I'm not buying it. The market, that's a resistance point, especially when it's tied in with the Bollinger Band. Are we trending? No. Has it been wild in interest rates? Yeah, you've gone from roughly the forget the 112s, recently the 120s into the 158 level, and now you're back to 146. You're all over the board. Momentum down, bias down, you're not trending. That's the issue. DBA, I brought this up during the week to you because we have some big grain moves happening. Watch the corn market. Beans are down, but I was looking for beans to come down. This is right into the time frame that I've been looking on that special report of mine for beans to bottom. Have they? No. Am I telling you to buy them? No. I'll wait for the bottom. And if I see it on the chart, I'll try to catch it. If I don't see it, I'm not going to be the first guy on the street there. The time frame is here. Whoops. Sorry about that. By the way, that is what we have in our charting service. This is some of what I use, okay? We bring in a lot of data feeds, and I'm able to see them all day in the real time, so I've got all my reports. I don't have to jump everywhere. I like one platform, and I like what our platforms do. So if you're interested, why not study what I bring to you? In the mornings, I start you out Monday through Friday with the Spider ETF videos, and I base it on the futures, what's going on. I give you a combo. I'll start the futures talk at 5:30. 9 o'clock, I'm talking the Spider ETF. Why? Because most government reports in the U.S. come out between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. So it's right there that I want to get them. But on the futures, they've already been open. They trade 23 hours a day, starting Sunday night until 4 o'clock Friday. So understand what goes on. And if you think you can trade a SPDR or ETF based on, say, gold, or you want to trade SLV, or you want to trade IWM, and you're not looking at the futures, come on, what are you doing? You got your eye like that? You're trying to be a shotgun shooter? Not going to work for you. I cover 40 charts, though, on Saturdays, all weekly. I want you to try this. What do you have to lose? What if you get one reasonable idea? Do something with it. So all you got to do to look at this, go to our website. Under the word research, everything you need is there. Education, if you want to learn my techniques, they're there, and I'll be bringing new ones out. And we'll see what goes on this week. There will be a live webinar this week as well. I'll let you know the date, but that'll be coming this week. I'm now doing them every other week because I'm using that week off to do other projects for you. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend, and I will see you all Monday.